Distinguished guests and colleagues, good morning to all of you, and welcome to this special event, which we are holding quite appropriately, not too far from this year's Veterans Day. It says something that while we are some 18 million veterans in this country by one estimate, this is the first business incubator of its kind focused on the veterans. So we call it the Veterans Future Lab, in line with the other 3 future labs that NYU Tandon runs. I'm delighted that the Veterans Future Lab is being supported by the state of New York and the Barclays Bank, and equally delighted we are opening it in Industry City. This Future Lab will be a hub of entrepreneurship with the specific goal of supporting veterans who transition from military service to a career in the innovation economy. I want to thank Andrew Kimball of the Industry City. I can't see where he is. There he is. Andrew, for making this happen, both organizationally and personally. And Andrew Hone of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, who is our partner, but he's not here today. I especially want to thank the Lieutenant Governor, and alas, the governor himself could not be here. Thank you, Kathy Hochul. And she oversees the New York State Regional Economic Development Council. And Joe Taswell, the Regional Director of ESDC. And of course, Barclays for their financial support for the Veterans Future Lab. It was Kathy Wild, who is sitting there, in whose office we had the initial discussion that started off the whole thing. So thank you, Kathy. I also want to recognize Jamal Othman, Assistant Commissioner of the Veterans Services, for being here today. We are very proud of the partnership with public institutions and private corporations, and I will later mention the crucial support of several more people that have contributed to this. So now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce the first speaker, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. Even before the project was declared a priority for the Regional Council, she was its vocal supporter. I've had the pleasure of taking you on a brief tour of the downtown MetroTech campus, not many months ago, and I'm really excited that you are here with us today, helping us open this newest space. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul.
Thank you, Dean, and congratulations on having your vision realized. And yes, I came here with Andrew and others. I think it was a cold February day in 2016, and I saw the vacant space, and I said, yeah, these are real visionaries, because I don't see it quite yet. So I commend all of you who said this is something we need to do. And I also want to recognize my partners in government, and Senator Marty Golden is here, Simon Joe Lentil, who's been working on this since the very beginning, our president of NYU, President Hamilton, and so many others who realized this day and thought this should come, and Kathy Wild, of course. Kathy Wild is a member of the New York City Regional Economic Development Council. So a number of years ago, when the governor was trying to identify some of our key priorities, we identified veterans as a class of individuals who we should be focused on as part of our economic development strategy. And this is a beautiful blending of that vision. It's also not just assistance to our veterans, but it also really helps our economy and brings a key player, NYU, into Industry City. And I've walked around here, I've eaten the food, and it's great, but also any way we can get a greater concentration of institutions, especially a world-renowned institution like this School of Engineering and the Future Lab. This is a very good day in the state of New York. I want to tell you, this is incredible. And I also, yes, we made it a priority, and our economic development dollars to the tune of $1 million were great. But I also want to thank Jess at Barclays. Having the private sector step up makes all the difference in the world. And this is exactly what our governor has been so brilliant at, is identifying needs, but saying government can't do it alone, and nor should they. We need the private sector to step up, and all of them are called to step up, and a few do. And you stepped up at Barclays. I want to thank you and Barbara Byrne and everyone else at Barclays for your participation here, and sending maybe perhaps a challenge to other companies, saying, yes, this is the first in the nation, but we sure shouldn't be the last. And let's keep this momentum going, not just in New York City, not just in New York State, but around your global footprint, because we have veterans everywhere. And I will speak from some experience 5 years ago when I was a member of the House Representatives Armed Services Committee. I went on a mission over to Afghanistan to do some oversight. And a few things struck me. One, flying over what had to be such barren terrain, it rivaled the lunar moonscape. I mean, this was a god-awful looking country. I'm sorry, Afghanistan, but it was bleak. And we descended into 5 different bases. And I remember being in Helmand Province at the Marine base, and I sat at a table, and they gathered New Yorkers, primarily from New York City, to sit down with me. And I asked the question as we were having lunch together. This is a high-stress situation, high stress. And I said, what is your greatest fear? And I'm assuming the answer must be the fact that the Taliban and Al-Qaeda are right outside the doors looking to really destroy what their mission was all about. The greatest fear these individuals from New York City told me was coming back to the States and not having a job. That broke my heart as an American citizen, who we have these individuals in harm's way, and they've got a lot of other things on their minds. But at the time, our unemployment rate for returning veterans was 20%. There was a spike in homelessness among our veterans, and we said, we've got to change this. This has got to be over. And so Congress initiated some incentives. I was involved with that, but it also gave me a lesson that lives with me to this day. And this is not just a speech we give on Veterans Day, and I sure gave a lot of speeches, and our governor just marched in a parade, but we know it's a year-round commitment to these individuals to say, yes, we sent you in harm's way, and you may have come back somewhat differently, whether physically or mentally, particularly when you've had multiple tours of duty. It takes its toll on individuals. But you also have incredible skills and talents that civilians can only dream of. That sense of teamwork and camaraderie and loyalty and purpose. Those are incredible qualities for entrepreneurs. And that is why channeling those skills in those individuals, when they return here, to be able to come to this institution and be part of an amazing experience with mentors and access to capital and access to state-of-the-art equipment, 3D printers that they never would have had before, that is a continuation of our lifelong commitment to these individuals upon their return. It is not just making sure they have health care and making sure they have a check every single month. It is making sure they have the dignity of a good job. And for many, because I know they have a lot of time to think, when they're overseas and coming up with a vision, the fact that NYU has stepped up and said, we will help you realize that vision and bring you into the entrepreneurial class, that is incredible to me. And I want to thank everyone for being involved in this. This really makes me happy, not just as an elected official, but as a citizen. And I'm going to continue to spread the word. And I've been to other places. I've seen job training programs. We help veterans and learn how to do solar panel fabrication up at Fort Drum. And I've been in Albany at a boot camp, Boots to Business camp, learning skills, but no one else has said, we will turn you into entrepreneurs. And that is what is going on here today. And I am so delighted to be here, and I congratulate everyone who saw this through. And I cannot wait to greet the graduates of this year's class and say, job well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for this wonderful speech. You actually summarized for us very well what this Veterans Future Lab is about. Thank you. I now ask everyone to enjoy this brief video showing why Barclays and NOU Tandon have worked together and are working together to create a new generation of veteran entrepreneurs and help transform the tech triangle into the Brooklyn Innovation Coastline, which is what we call it, the western coast of Brooklyn. So now the movie.
The Veterans Future Lab is a hub of programs to support early-stage startups founded by veterans to ensure that they make it through the various stages of the startup life cycle.
This program, I think, is key to veteran entrepreneurs succeeding in New York City. It caters directly to us, and it speaks our language, and it understands where we're coming from.
Obviously, I didn't know the legal needs and the financial needs and some of the terms. I was able to get that in just the first couple weeks of the program.
So I think the vet's a really good one-stop shop for people who are looking to get to the next level and not looking to be put in a particular pigeonhole.
Veterans bring a number of valuable skills to the workplace, most especially discipline, operating under pressure, and adapting quickly to changing circumstances.
Perseverance is something that a lot of the veterans bring to entrepreneurship.
The essence of it, the idea of being able to harness the same emotions and marshal them in the same way applies from military life into civilian life.
By expanding this innovation coastline down to Sunset Park, we hope to draw in some of the tech talent and draw in some of those investors down to areas where they're typically not considering as tech hubs in New York City.
We believe that the success of Brooklyn is because of its tech past.
Partnership between Barclays and the NYU Tandon Future Labs will operate as a platform for entrepreneurs to create new businesses, create jobs, and in turn help Barclays solve its own problems.
Partnering with Barclays, which is a major international company, gives us higher visibility. It gives us access to their veterans network.
There's a need for companies like Barclays to get involved, to provide that structure and that network and that support system for entrepreneurs to make sure that they're successful.
Tandon's involvement in this program improves the prospects for its success. If you have a school that's in the business of schooling, it's a lot easier to learn from folks who know how to teach.
What we want is the Veterans Future Lab to act as a beacon for all veteran startups across the United States to come to New York, to pursue their ventures, to learn from the ecosystem, to get access to the resources.
We hope to be a role model for all of New York City and actually for New York State and the nation.
That was good. Thank you. At Tandon, we are very proud of our partnership with private sector. In fact, technology can be put to serve our society better, as you said, Lieutenant Governor, when the effort is teamed up with business. The Veterans Future Lab is a partnership with Barclays. Barclays and their CEO, Staley, who's sitting here, understand veterans. Barclays is leading the way when it comes to helping veterans transition out of service into new careers in the private sector. And Jess himself has personally shown commendable interest in supporting the veterans community. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Staley to the stage.
Thank you, Caterpillar. And it's great to follow the Lieutenant Governor. I can't think of a greater event than bringing together the public sector, the government, education, universities, and a bank to do something that is deeply impactful and meaningful to some of the greatest citizens of our country, those that put their lives at risk, our veterans. So to represent everyone here from Barclays in joining this partnership is a deep honor. What I'd also like to say is last week was sort of the Veterans Day in the UK as well. And we spent a lot of time with veterans in Great Britain that are part of the Barclays family. And one of the things that you do talk about is the relationship between the military of the United Kingdom and the military of the United States. So there's a special bridge here, I think, of Barclays being a British bank, partnering with New York State and with NYU to help U.S. veterans that are there supporting British soldiers also in the same battlefield. So there is no community that is more deserving of this program for entrepreneurship. This is the first of its kind in the country, and like Lieutenant Governor said, hopefully there will be many more to follow. And on behalf of Barclays, and Andy, we love this partnership with NYU. We're very much proud to be at this event today, and thank you.
Thank you, Jess. That was lovely and very short, and thank you so much for this. Our president, Andrew Hamilton, needs no introduction whatever, but I want to say 2 sentences about him and why he is special for us. He exudes a contagious enthusiasm, and the many ways in which NYU is engaging Brooklyn would not have happened without his activism. And he has made Brooklyn and technology and innovation the cornerstone of his presidency. And Tandon will support you in every possible way. He has had no formal connection to Brooklyn, but was very astute to realize its potential for NYU's future. So please welcome Andy Hamilton to the stage.
Srini, thank you very much indeed, and ladies and gentlemen, this is a very happy day. It's a day of great achievement, and you can hear from my accent that I don't come from Brooklyn originally, and to be celebrating today this partnership, the partnership of an educational institution, NYU, Tandon School of Engineering, the city of Brooklyn, the state of New York, but also Barclays Bank, a British bank, as Jess has just reminded us. And it's a very special connection that we all see that when we work together, great things happen. And I think for me, being with all of you, celebrating the opening of the Veterans Future Lab is a special moment on a special weekend. As Jess said, this is essentially the Veterans Weekend in the UK and in the US. Any of you who know the UK know that everyone wears a poppy in their lapel, a poppy that connects to the First World War battlefields of Flanders. And it's something, we saw it yesterday on the NFL fields, celebration of veterans. We see it around the world. And here in Brooklyn, here at NYU, we are doing something that really does matter. Let me thank just a few people, and the Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul, and having said that about Barclays Bank, Lieutenant Governor, I'm tempted to call you Lieutenant Governor. So the Lieutenant Governor, we are enormously grateful for your presence here, but also the strong support of the state. We thank you for that. I also want to thank you for your wonderful sense of color. To be wearing NYU violet on a day like today, it shows us that the state is very much behind us. Let me thank, many people have been thanked, but I will do so quickly. Assembly Member Joe Lentil, again, Joe, we thank you for your support. State Senator Marty Golden, who is here, we thank you for your support. Jess Staley and Barbara Byrne, who've been mentioned. This could not have happened without Barclays, and we're thrilled to see the Barclays blue coming. It matches perfectly, it complements perfectly NYU violet, and I think this is an opportunity for all of us to see what can come when two great institutions come together. And Jess reminded me that Barclays is over 300 years old. NYU is only 186 years old. It's rare that we are a youngster in comparison with a corporate entity, but we are in this case. And I think you see by the support of Barclays, they really do know what matters. And when I look at this space that we have just come from, the space that will be the Future Lab, it really is the confluence of so many things that matter. It's the confluence of an educational institution, NYU, that is in the business of giving people the foundation for their lives, whether it be 18-year-olds coming as new freshmen. We teach them to think. We teach them to think critically and analytically, and then to use that and build their lives and career. Or whether it is veterans returning from service in the US or service overseas, and the opportunities we have to help them get the foundations and become part of the entrepreneurial energy that is taking place in this city. It is an educational institution, but it's also a commitment to innovation. And in Brooklyn, as we look around us, we see a remarkable ecosystem now becoming at the very cutting edge of innovation. To hear Srini call it the Brooklyn Innovation Coastline couldn't be better, because coastlines are on the edge. And this is the cutting edge of where new ideas come. And even more importantly, new ideas are turned into commercial reality, and commercial reality means jobs. So we have education, we have innovation, but we also have an opportunity to change the lives and to give a real direction to our returning veterans. That's something that you can hear from everyone speaking today, everyone in this room. We are utterly committed to. We see it as a mission. Our partnership with Barclays, the Borough of Brooklyn, and the State of New York ensures that it will happen. We could not be happier to be here with all of you today, celebrating this very special event. Thank you all.
I want to introduce our next speaker, who is Mrs. Chandrika Tandon. I told her about this Veterans Future Lab some time ago, and she went out of her way to make a generous commitment to establish the Veterans Scholarship for Bridge to Tandon, which is a program we have to support, in this particular case, veterans so much more than just the Future Lab itself. What the program does is to bridge the preparation of smart people who don't have formal training in STEM programs, but enable them to get a master's degree in engineering or a STEM field by giving them preparation through the summer. Chandrika said, well, she will generously support this program for veterans. I was terribly pleased. It goes to show that when there's a good idea, so many good things come together. So Chandrika is special to us also for other reasons. She is our school's major benefactor, of course. She is the vice chair of the NYU Board of Trustees. She is also a Grammy-nominated artist who just released a new album, which she sent me a copy of, and I listened to with great pleasure. And she is a supporter of many causes around the city and the world. More than all, Chandrika deeply cares about people and ideas. Please welcome Chandrika Tandon.
Being involved with NYU and the leadership, you sort of wait for days like today. This is what makes it all worthwhile, whether you contribute your time, your talent, or your treasure. It's a day of celebration, a very important day of celebration. We're celebrating NYU Tandon, and I'm going to put NYU Tandon because we've spoken about NYU. Our president's done a great job of talking about that. NYU Tandon is a school of opportunity. It's a school of promise. That is how we have built ourselves. It's a school where a very significant proportion of the students are on some form of aid, and we are committed to making sure that we educate them to the best of our ability, and that we then place them in jobs, that this is not just a theoretical notion of education, that we really want to make them productive in the country, in their lives. We're celebrating that. And I'm also thrilled to see that New York State is called the state of opportunity. So we're celebrating opportunity in all its forms. We're celebrating the veterans, a very, very important segment. I mean, there's a reason that I wanted to support this Bridges to Tandon program. This is a group of people that have given so much of themselves to our country, and they come back, as Kathy spoke about, Lieutenant Governor, with sometimes forgotten heroes. And anything we can do to make them, it's such a small fraction of what it is that they've given to us. We salute you, we honor you, and we just feel privileged to be able to support you in any way we can. And this is our contribution to that. We're celebrating partnerships of people coming together, of institutions coming together. We've all spoken about that. We've all come together with different talents, different skills, different resources. But we can't go it alone. NYU Tandon can't go it alone. NYU can't go it alone. And Barclays, you can't go it alone. And not just, I'm not talking about Barclays. You happen to be the man of the hour, the institution of the hour, really. But none of us can go it alone. And the state, it's incredible that you guys are now bringing all of us together and being the catalyst to make this happen. We hope this will be just the beginning of things to come. And finally, Brooklyn, here we come. And America, watch out. Brooklyn's here to stay. NYU Tandon, the state, every institution, we hope a lot more will join us, and that we really are going to make Brooklyn the innovation center of the universe. That's my hope, that's my prayer, and I know it's all something that all of you want as well. Thank you so much for having this moment together. This is something I know for sure I'll remember for a very long time.
Thank you, Chandrika, for your inspirational words. Our next speaker exemplifies why we are actually offering this program. Tim Lawton is a graduate of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point and served 5.5 years, including 4 combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. He received an MBA from MIT's Sloan School of Management and a successful career elsewhere in banking. Then he decided to venture out on his own and co-founded Frontier 7, a consumer research software company. He was part of our pilot Veterans Future Lab, which we had co-located in the Digital Future Lab in Dumbo until now. Tim is a leader, has a huge drive for success, committed to everything that he takes on. He's only one among many such smart first-rate people in the military who would like to make this transition. As Tim comes up here, I want to cite a line from his company website. Frontier 7 reflects the deeply held beliefs of its co-founders that we give our best to the world by continuously pushing our own limits and reaching new levels of excellence. I think this speaks for all of us who aspire for greatness in some way. Well said, Tim, so please say a few words.
Thank you, and I hope I live up to a portion of that. As the grandson and son of Irish Catholic politicians from Boston, it's in my blood to not give up a microphone when I get a chance to get up here. So, but I was told to keep this short and sweet, and only a few years after active duty, I still know how to follow orders. But first, I do need to point out how great it is when things come full circle. After I left active duty, I was getting my MBA and interning for investment banking internships, and it was actually Barclays that gave me a chance, gave me an opportunity. And to all the representatives of Barclays, I assure you that I will be forever grateful. I have a long way to go before I will ever consider myself successful. But one thing I do know is for certain is that I don't have a chance in hell getting there without organizations like Barclays and programs like NYU Tandon has here for veterans without giving me a chance to get there. Earlier today, someone I was speaking with asked me about my service and talked about the challenges of transitioning from military to entrepreneurship and how that they're clearly very different in terms of environment, organization. And on the surface, I agree, the military can be big, sometimes slow, sometimes inefficient, and it's bureaucratic, whereas early stage entrepreneurship is anything but. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized how similar my experiences actually were. I spent the majority of my 5.5 years in active duty between Iraq and Afghanistan with 4 combat tours. And I took a step back and I realized that every time I was out on a mission, I was in some sense an entrepreneur. At that moment in time, I was operating with a small team in an uncertain, unknown environment, making real-time decisions that often had immediate, real-time consequences. Now, as a co-founder of an early-stage tech company, not much has changed. Well, I take that back. A few things have changed. The lunar landscapes of Afghanistan are quite different from Industry City, and this is quite the upgrade here. So I'm happy to have changed environments. But one thing that is difficult, and I think the toughest thing for veterans, is the transition of that mindset and skill set. And I know that was the toughest thing for me in my journey. And it is programs and organizations that allow that for veterans, to give them the opportunity to teach them that their experiences are transferable, that their mindset and their skill set do have applications in a totally different environment where seemingly there is not a lot of overlap. And it is programs like this that help me answer questions that I didn't even know that I should be asking. And I know that it will do that for many, many more. So it's an honor to be here, and I thank you for not only giving me this opportunity, but opportunity for veterans to come. And I assure you that no veteran wants anything other than an opportunity. And I assure you will not be disappointed. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. We are really proud of you. I want now to bring up a man that has always supported NYU in Brooklyn and has vocally, financially, and philosophically supported Tandon for as long as I've been here. In December of 2014, Assemblymember Joe Lentil came to our school along with Brooklyn Chamber and asked a simple question: what can you do to help veterans? A couple of weeks later, we gave him a certain answer, which is to create the entrepreneurship training program for the veterans. It was from this simple conversation that the Veterans Future Lab that we now know was born. Joe, we wouldn't be here without you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe Lentil.
Thank you, Srini. So what can I say after all of these wonderful speakers? Do I have anything left to say? Yes, I do. But I want to echo the sentiments of our great Lieutenant Governor when she spoke about the importance of this program. And I couldn't say it any better than a former vice president said it at the signing of a bill. And he said, "This is a big expletive-deleted deal." A lot of you don't remember that. Ask your partner next to you what the expletive was. So today, we are opening this lab, and this is my greatest hope, that we would be able to transfer the entrepreneurship program into something even bigger. And thanks to the governor and to the lieutenant governor, to Barclays and to NYU and to you for coming forward, and all of the folks here. And I want to thank my partner in government, Marty Golden, for sponsoring this program in the Senate and for making sure that it came to fruition for the entrepreneurship program. And as we go forward, and Andrew Kimball lets us get more and more space, because we're going to grow even larger than ever with this program, because we're going to get more and more vets involved. And Tim, I just want to say that you kind of summarized everything that I wanted to say about why this program is important. And, but let me summarize it in my own way. Entrepreneurship, veterans, don't they actually go together naturally? Don't the veterans of the United States wars in Afghanistan and Iraq now have to make the kind of split-second decisions that need to be made when you're the head of a company? Aren't they more equipped even than the rest of us to come forward and try to lead this world in business? I think the answer is obvious. And I have a lot of people to thank for this, but I especially want to have Steve and Chris stand up, because they've been doing the entrepreneurship program. Craig, I'm sorry. Craig, where are you, Craig? And so, ladies and gentlemen, I actually have a pleasant surprise for NYU Tandon. And I'd like Ms. Tandon to please come up, as well as Srini, if he's still here. This is, and Lieutenant Governor and Senator Golden, would you help me make this presentation? This is a proclamation. It says Assembly on it, but I'm sure the sentiments are expressed by all of my partners in government here to present this proclamation to NYU Tandon for the excellent work that you have done thus far in making sure that veterans are not forgotten, are not homeless, that medical care is taken care of. And now we're going to put them in business, and the kind of business they're going to be put in, the head of business, not as meaningless workers who can't get a job. And that's what this is all about. I want to thank NYU with this proclamation presented to you by the Senator, the Assemblyman, and the Lieutenant Governor.
Assemblymember Joe Lentil mentioned Senator Golden. We were not sure whether he would come today or not, but his love for the enterprise is such that he couldn't keep himself away from there. So, Senator, would you please say a few words?
A politician say a few words. Where's that guy from Boston? Listen, it's a great day. Lieutenant Governor, my colleague in the Assembly, your leadership has been exemplary. Anytime you can bring government together with the corporate world and with NYU, the only thing you get is success. And that's what we want, is success. And we're better than Brooklyn. Just 30 blocks from here was the Battle of Brooklyn. Kings County has always paid a high price, and we were always in the lead, and we will continue to be in the lead. The Brooklyn Navy Yard, the reason for Industry City, the reason to make things happen, not only for this town, but for the city, state, and for the nation. Think about it, all the wars that we've gone through. Look at these buildings today. We're better than Industry City to have this operation going. As Joe has pointed out and the Lieutenant Governor has pointed out, our biggest challenge are the returning vets. And there are many coming back. Largest since Vietnam coming back. Think about that. And the biggest issues out there, jobs, jobs, jobs. Jobs, homelessness, healthcare. I tell you right now, it is astounding the needs that are necessary for our veterans. 30% of the veterans returning want to be entrepreneurs, come back with great ideas, but only 5% get the opportunity to do that because they don't have those support channels. This will be that support channel to bring that 5% to where it should be, back to 30%, and to give these American veterans an opportunity not only to be successful, but to create and to make things that'll bring our families and bring Brooklyn into the future. I'm proud of this great operation. I speak for my leader, Senator Flanagan, and for my conference. We're glad to be part of this, and we will continue to be part of this. This is truly going to be a successful operation. Congratulations, NYU, Barclays, my colleagues in government, Ms. Tandon, all of you. God bless you all, and have a great, great day. Go USA, up America.
It's clear that we have huge responsibility on us, and we will do our very best to make sure that this responsibility is carried forward in relation to our commitment to veterans. The only thing that remains for me is to thank a number of people, and many people have worked in the background, many people much more directly, and many others I'm sure will yet be involved in this enterprise. I'm almost certain I will inadvertently leave out a few names, so please excuse me if that really happens. So I have already thanked a few people, but I will make a list a little bit longer. I want to thank many of you who are here today and make this event successful. Regina Meyer from Downtown Brooklyn Partnership, she was here earlier. Maybe she, there she is. Thank you, Regina, for being here. And Chad Arroyo from Bunker Lab. I don't know where I see Chad. Yeah, there, Chad. Thank you for being here. Lynn Brown from NYU. She's there. Thank you so much, Lynn. And Peter Fusco and Oric, the contractors at JCT Associates, the architects of 590 BC. Without them, we would certainly not be here. Andrew Kimball and his staff, who really worked very hard for us. Staff from Assembly Member Felix Ortiz, they are here. And of course, Craig Wilson and Steve Kuyan got their due already, so I don't have to mention them, but I will mention them again. And Kurt Becker, who is somewhere there, yeah, thank you. They have made our continued commitment real to the network of entrepreneurship efforts in the university, the city, and the state. I thank also Sire Loniel, Jason Weicker, and Jennifer Paz. They all have worked very hard at this. And I reiterate my thanks to our partners on this project, Barclays, the state of New York, and Mrs. Tandon and her family. And thank you all for helping us celebrate this event today. And this is just the beginning, and much more, I'm sure, will happen. So thank you, and all the best to you. What's next, Sire?
Oh, there you go. Thanks. Right on cue. We are now, please enjoy some refreshments and some food in the back. We'll be starting tours. The first group will be a tour of Barclays folks at 12:15. You'll be gathered by Pratibha, and then we'll be doing another one at 12:30 and then 12:45. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the Veterans Future Lab. It is the future for veterans. Thank you.